Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute since a new video. Gotta apologize, been pretty busy. We just had our 7th annual Gold City Trucks 6772 beach party. So I've got a video coming on that, should be next. I got a bunch of ones that have been loading and on the stovetop per se. So this one here is on us buffing the yellow K10 burb and some unexpected but kind of expected mechanical fixes that were needed. I've got one coming for Connor's truck, the completion of that and getting it back on the road. I've even got one. I know some of you have been asking and like, what the heck, dude? I gotta apologize. I know it's been a minute. On cheap date, the $5,000 budget short bed build. I'll even give you a little teaser of that. It's right there. It's kind of a truck again, which is pretty cool. So got more on that. And yeah, so bear with me here. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Really helps the channel out, helps the growth, and helps me to keep making these videos. So without further ado, buffing the yellow burb, and more videos soon. All right, got the big yellow burb here in the shop, and we're gonna do what I was talking about at the end of the last Suburban video. Buff the paint on this old rusty girl. It's wearing a lot of its original factory light yellow. It's had some spots kind of blended in here and there, and it's got lots of brown lower areas showing through. Oh, I should say, of course, paired with white roof and white lower with rust lower. And it's actually in pretty good shape, the paint. You know, it's not terrible. And it all made sense once I got in contact with the original owner. He says, oh no, I always had it under this like open Quonset hut he had over there on the other side of the state. So it kind of was always covered. It shows because the roof is real nice and dry. I mean, it does not have a rusty roof. Had all the stuff that's rusty on it, and a common place for Suburbans to have rust. This truck is not rusty in those areas, and the paint is real nice up there. So again, I mentioned in the last video of this thing, one of the main reasons why we bought it is the color. I just love this color. It really grew on me. And so let's make the most of it. We're gonna buff it. So you can see here, it's kind of got a little sheen to it. We got some black primer showing through. It's gonna show, you know, kind of more and whatnot. It's not totally faded out. It's been a long time since it had any kind of a paint correction or, you know, any kind of real effort put into the paint to make it look better. So it's just kind of, it's not like sitting out, you know, there in the pasture for the last 30 years chalky where you can wipe off. I mean, look, my hand, it's getting a little bit of paint on it, but it's not, you know, just absolutely yellow. Some trucks, you know, you can wipe your hand down, and when they're all chalky from sitting in there, you can, you know, see the color on your hand afterwards. It's not that bad. So I'm not going to do a super heavy cut in this thing. I think I'm able to actually get it with just kind of a mild kind of cut and cleaner. I just did this on the last truck that was in here for buff just this last week, the green and white C20 I did a video on. And I mostly used this. I was using the one and it was working really good. I thought, well, let me hang on a second. This is actually coming back really fast. I tried using the two, and I just did that. And it's kind of nice in that sense too, because you guys have to follow it up. This basically is a follow-up. This is the second step if you're doing a full, you know, heavy cut on the paint that really needs it. So we're kind of skipping the first, you know, real heavy cut that's going to really tear some paint off and work some crazy magic, which sometimes you got to use because the paint's that bad. But this isn't that bad. So I think we're going to be able to get by with just two here. And yeah, make the most of it. The most fun and challenging part of this is going to be that roof. And so I've got a plan for that. It's going to happen probably last. I buffed the roof entirety on the white Suburban, and that was fun, but it's also probably a whole foot lower to the ground. So made it a little easier. I've got a plan on how to do this one, but I want to, you know, get up there and get that roof too, because it's gonna look really nice once it's all shined up and shiny white with those cab lights. So, and this fender here is gonna be a treat. I think it's like this has been repainted. This is one of those major spot ends, and it's not that nice. It looks almost like a baked good or like something you buy at the bakery. Look at it. It looks like a cake frosting or something. I don't know what that's gonna do. I hope it shines up, or else it's gonna look really even worse than it does when the rest of this looks pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. We'll see what we can do there. All right, so I got lit up in here a little better. Got a couple lights shining right in the panels we're working on. And yeah, I've got a already well used. Put this thing over. I love about old paint, old patina paint trucks. Look at, you just set it on there, who cares? Doesn't matter. You can't hurt it, man. You can't hurt it. Got a medium kind of cut foam pad, and to pair with some basically medium cleaner, medium compound. So I like foam. I like wool pads too. I got a whole shrew of them. I used to detail cars and whatnot, and trying out all the kind of crap. And I like the foam that makes less of a mess. And when you got other stuff, you know, kind of around what you're doing, it's nice to kind of just keep the mess at the minimum. Wool kicks ass. It cuts really well, and it's pretty rapid. You know, it can work really well. I like the qualities of wool as well too. And a lot of times I want to use it when I'm outside and got plenty of air to breathe, and just, you know, doesn't matter where I'm making the mess at. So for the most part, I use foam, and but everybody has their own choice. Everybody has their own stuff they like. And again, this is the 3M Perfected compound. The second stage I'll be using here. So yeah, I run the buffer. When you're running a compound like this, you know, you don't have to go super crazy fast like that. It doesn't do the guy any good with the movement and the speed of the buffer. Just gonna put a whole bunch of swirls in it and not shine up as well. So kind of slow movements, overlapping. Keep it moving though. You don't want to sit in one spot too long. That's never good for, well, anything. And so, yeah, just kind of keep it moving, nice and steady, nice and slow, and keep the pad wet with compound. When it's dry, you're just spinning your wheels. You're not really doing anything. Nice thing is too is like little things like this, all these little specks of surface rust on the leading edge of this hood. The compound wipes that right off. And for these trucks, I don't ever really bother taping off the grill. If it's a brand new truck, you know, or restored truck with a brand new grill, I absolutely would to avoid that. But like this thing right here, it ain't gonna hurt to get any compound on that. I think it's gonna help it shine up a little bit more. So I just leave that. But you go to this hood here and you pop it up. This one pops up really good. Right to the click there, and the first click, and that gives you plenty of room to get right down to the edge of the hood with it and get that all kind of cleaned up nice. And then it's nice too because it pops it up here away from the fender to where a lot of times when you're trying to buff this, you're not sitting there on the edge of the fender or the edge of the hood as much as you would be. So yeah, kind of always just like pop the hood. If I'm doing the front edge and whatnot, it helps out. You can leave it pop while you're doing the top of the hood too. Little tip, kind of helps out. All right, so I kind of goofed up here. I meant to film a little before clip of this engine bay, and I'm sure I did. I don't know. It's lost. Gone with the wind. So here's a little still shot of what it looked like before. It was all just greasy, grimy, grody underneath there, and just really needed a good once-over, good cleanup. So that's what I did. And replaced valve covers and the gaskets and just kind of tidied things up. The spark plugs wires were nice by the spark plugs, but messy by the distributor. Kind of had some goofy hose routing. So cleaned everything up, gave a good once-over. And here's the after. All right, so here's an after. Didn't really do anything too crazy here other than just kind of clean up a bit of a mess. The firewall was just caked in grease and grime, so did a number on that, got all cleaned up. And this area here with the oil pressure line going into the cab, the power wire from the HEI coming out, we got old factory emissions wiring harnesses kind of still in place, and the wiper fluid squirter hoses. It was just spaghetti. I don't know why stuff had been undone and put back together, but it was all just like crisscross. I mean, you couldn't one thing couldn't be removed without tinkling through all it was just a mess, kind of spaghetti. So kind of redid all that stuff there and made it make sense again. And yeah, did obviously valve covers, replace those. These are some decent ones that I got from my buddy, actually David, in Canada. So thanks, David, for these. They're the actual real GM ones, nice and thick. So hopefully they can hold up good and not leak like those other ones were. I think those ones, honestly, I think the valve covers that were on it, the Good Wrench ones, I don't think they've ever been off of it before. Excuse me. It looks really clean inside. Those valve cover gaskets were super old, and the bolts were all, like nice and tight. So I think they've been on there since probably 2009, since the motor was put in here. So everything looked really good in there, all nice and clean. And then I did kind of do up this a little bit better. This was like rubber hose all the way down to the pump, and it was just kind of this dangly thing with a plugged up fuel filter. It was like resting all the hoses, so I did it steel hard line off of a factory setup, and it was cut. Anyway, it just kind of made it a little better. Just steel hard line up to here, and so then rubber, and fuel filter, and in. And I wish I had this a little better to not be resting on that, but without reconfiguring this, it's what we got. It's out of line. This is way better than it was. Just cleaning things up, checking things out, and it all looks really good in here. Because crusty old Carter works really good. I thought it was an Edelbrock when I bought it. I mean, same thing basically. And now that I pulled the air cleaner off, like, oh, it actually is an old Carter. So it works good. The choke works good. Everything seems to work pretty good on it. So happy with all this. As long as it keeps doing what it's doing, it's all good in the hood. So yeah, glass clean fire on the truck. It's the most solid and rusty bit of the truck. We got a little bit just kind of maybe trying to start over there, a few specks of rust trying to come through, but it is super solid compared to the rest of the truck. So I figured, you know what, why not get this all nice and clean as possible to show off the best bit of the truck. And it is always nice to open the hood and not having to just be a total pigsty. So this is better, and I'm happy with this. Oh, I also cleaned up the chrome, the air cleaner. It's a little rusty still, a little dirty. I gotta wipe it down, and got a new same size, nice thick, tall air cleaner for it. So get this put on, and underhood little cleanup is done. All right, so at this point in the video, I go off on a big tangent with some mechanical issues that arose. So not planned. I was trying to just buff this truck, ended up having to fix the truck, and almost dang near half the videos me trying to fix the truck. So you guys know me, I get going and I can just ramble on. So I tried to edit this and kind of cut it up and make it so it was listenable, and I was in a frenzy trying to fix the fuel issues. So stick along if you want to. I kind of go on this roller coaster about setting units and fuel pumps and this and that. And if you're just here for the buff job, skip the next 10 minutes or so of the video. But yeah, the burb is broken and I fix it. So sorry, tangent, we ain't buffing, we're fixing. But nevertheless, it needed it, and I'm today, now a week later, I'm glad it happened. All right, so you know one of those times where you should have just left, well enough alone? That is today here at Gold City Trucks. So, okay, I gotta start at the kind of the beginning. The one thing this truck, Suburban, I should say, drop stuff all over the place, did do that was kind of odd. It, gosh, what's this called? I have a brain fart here. Get up on my brain cell and brain activity for the day. It would lose its fuel prime really bad. You know, if you start the truck up, you run around, you start it up that evening or next morning, it was fine. But if it sat more in a couple days, even to a week, it lost its prime really bad. I mean, it would like turn over. I mean, a couple times I was like, gosh, is this thing out of gas? And, you know, or did I lose my spark? What's going on here? And then finally it would fire up after, you know, sometimes a minute of cranking. These long wheelbase rear tank trucks are kind of the worst for that. The fuel's gonna come a long ways, and if you got a pump that's bleeding back or whatever, it doesn't help. My Blazer has always been terrible about it. If it sits, you know, for a week, it takes forever to prime, then just kind of a pain in the butt. So this truck had the same problem, and when I came in here and did that fuel line, I undid it, and from the bottom, the hose right down to the pump. When I did it from there, the fuel that came out was just black and like, not like sludgy, not gross, but just black in color, and hints that, you know, of course, rotting rubber hose right there or elsewhere as well too. And so I thought, oh, okay. And so I fixed this up here, and then I thought, you know what? We're cleaning things up, making things a little more respectable. And when I had it up on the trailer, I noticed that out back on the frame by the tank back there, you know, I was chaining it down. I looked up, it had this like little makeshift like fuel filter, fuel pump thing with the hoses and zip ties. And I was like, huh, like whatever. They ran and drove on the trailer, so, you know, wasn't keeping it from running. And I had mentioned too before in a previous video, and I had concerns towards such. We have this auxiliary gas tank here. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, okay, wait a second, you know, is that hooked up still? I kind of want to get it unhooked. Is it good? Is it bad? Well, everything was all hooked up. And so I thought, you know, we got black fuel up here at the engine. You know, what's going on there? And I thought to myself, let's just check out some fuel lines, fuel hoses underneath this truck. So I ran to the back there to that makeshift little pump dealio. And we've got hoses. We've got this wood block that's tied to the frame. And then this little helper pump is screwed to that. And it's the wire. It's all corroded and wrapped around. And it did, I saw have power wires running down the frame. So this is right in the back by the rear tank back there. And I never really heard this thing turn on. I never heard either of these. There's another one. We're getting to that. I've never heard either of these things turn on. But they obviously were doing something. So I came up, I undid this one and hooked the rear tank. It was right after the fuel tank. I got rid of it, hooked a tank right up to the fuel line at the back. So then it came on the fuel line, and these are two-piece fuel line. There's basically a split in the middle, and what they usually it's just like a short section, like a 6-inch section of hose with 2 clamps on it, and it goes the rest of the way up to the front of the truck. Basically, it's a truck fuel line, and then it has where it would go into the cab of the truck. It starts another fuel line again to the Suburban back to the tank back there. So. Anyways, well, they came off of this guy here where it U'd on the passenger side over there, and they brought over this tank. It had a switch and another fuel pump there running off the back tank. It was not running on the side tank here, but it was still hooked up, and it's got some gas, and I got to drain it out. And again, this other pump. So we've got, you know, an extra, I mean, there was more of it I already threw away there. We've got an extra easy 10 feet of fuel line. It was having to pump everything through, because it went that to the little pump, and it came over here, and over here, and over here, and then back, and through this, and it was just a mess. So I undid all this, got rid of all of it, and all the fuel lines are in really tough shape. Some of it's like rock hard, and some of it, as soon as I started pulling it just started leaking. So this needed to be done away with. But it's what was keeping the truck running, is the fault here. So I hook a tank up, like I said, right to the fuel line, came back over here, did a little 6-inch section of hose, and then it's fuel line right up to the engine bay. Okay, well, sure. Go to start it up, and it will not get any fuel. Nothing. And so going, okay, you know, why were these put on there? Why we got 2 electric fuel pumps? I mean, this isn't like it's a space rocket. This thing didn't have 3 fuel pumps from the factory. Like, what's going on here? So I thought, well, and surely enough, could have been, the mechanical pump was weak. So I replaced that, and nothing is still. And so then I'm going to myself, okay, well, I have to have a problem with this rear tank. So it turned into, you know, quick little fix the fuel filter, fuel hose come up from the pump. Now I got a tank out of the dang thing, and I'm struggling to find much wrong with it other than, and this could easily done it, and I sure hope it is it. Which one is it? No. Right here. This here. Excuse my battered and tattered hands and fingernails. I couldn't find much wrong with it. What's going on with this back here besides this? So this is the main fuel, I guess, outlet coming out of the tank, and ran like that into the setting unit, and it is rotted away. It's got a hole in it, and so I don't know if it was just sucking air, you know. The pump can't pump if it's got a whole bunch of air right here, a little bit, and maybe with those 2 electric fuel pumps it had enough to kind of get past all that. And with all the fuel lines they had ran around, when I'm not convinced it wasn't back feeding through the, I don't even know, man. I'm telling you, it was spaghetti underneath there, fuel lines everywhere. So got this out. The tank actually, it's pretty clean inside. It's the original tank, or it is an original tank, I should say. Doesn't look bad inside at all. It had some little floaties in here, nothing to be too concerned about. I poured all the fuel out of it, and it looked really clean. And it was 3/4 of the way full. So I mean, I went and put another 5 gallons in it, thinking, well, gosh, it's maybe out of gas, because the gas gauge does not work right. And thought maybe that was the problem. Well, hey, you know, it's not starting. We ain't got no gas in it, right? No, it had gas in it. So, yeah, I think it's just that dumb little hose that kind of did us in here. I'm sure hoping so. This didn't hurt to check out, and it'd be nice to get this gauge working anyways. So this is not the original sending unit. Somebody's definitely been in here before, not yesterday, but somebody was in here. I'm gonna try and get this gauge working, or do what I can to get it to work. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna try because these can be a pain in the butt. I'm guessing it's this float isn't floating right, so it is a lot of times, or it just is the fact that the sending unit itself is bad. So we'll see what we can do here. I want to get this working. It did have a read, so that's why I think it might just be the float that's not floating right. But we'll try to get that sorted out. I need hose, I need more clamps and everything, and it's like 7 o'clock here, so parts store's closed, so this is a tomorrow project at this point. So hopefully with any luck we can get this all buttoned up tomorrow and get the tank back in the truck, get it siphoning fuel, sucking fuel from the tank, and hopefully it was just that darn little line right there. And yeah, and with extra luck we can hopefully have working gas gauge. All right, so it's the next day here, and been playing around with, this fuel tank and these sending units. Okay, so here's where I'm at. I went to town this morning and got hoses and hose clamps, and this is a radiator section I'm gonna cut to use for the filler neck, since it all dry rotted, and replace that too. And this is the vent hose I'm replacing. That comes off here, it runs to the filler neck vent. So okay, the tank, it's clean inside, it's nice, there's no issues with the tank other than this big kind of dent it has here. It is, we can't really see it on camera, but it's got a big dent right here, and it appears that maybe it's getting stuck at one point, and they hooked to the rear cross member, which the tank rides right up against, and bent the cross member and kind of bumped into the tank. Wasn't leaking. I'm not going to worry about it. Act like it's not there. Cleaned the tank up just kind of on the outside and the inside, and gave it a good bath and scrubbing, and it got to where it's respectable enough, certainly for what rig it's going back in. So I got that done. I moved my focus towards sending units. I was saying yesterday in the video, I really want to get this gas gauge working. I have played with these rear tank, Blazers and Suburbans multiple times over the years, and I've always fought getting these working. They can be a pain in the butt. The new ones suck. They don't work sometimes. The new floats, they sink. Maybe not off the bat too. It'll work for a week and then it won't work, or just kind of pain in the butt. So this one had a new replacement one that was in it that had a reading, and I was very curious. Well, my neighbor Mike actually came over to help me, which was nice. He sat in the truck and watched the gauge, and I just hooked this up to the signal wire and to ground to the chassis, and I checked this one. This is the one that was in the truck. So it was actually working, or I should say it was getting a read from this. I fixed the ground wire up a little bit and tried to single it out, as making sure that wasn't a problem, and put a new end connector on it, and got the spot in the frame all cleaned up really good. So made sure all my other stuff is good. So it was just down to the sending unit. It was getting a read on the gauge when I was driving the truck, and it was it seemed like it really hover around 1/8 of a tank to about half a tank, a little under half a tank. Well, on empty here, and up till about this area was about 1/8 of a tank, and this right here right under half, as it should be, but go away to full, and it would stay just right under half. And so basically full movement here and whatnot, it wasn't getting that on the gauge. And so it's kind of curious, is the gauge, because that gauge cluster in there is doing funny things, temp gauge isn't working right. I think the interior the gauge lights are kind of finicky. There's something else it was doing in there that was a little funny. And I kind of took up the fuel gauge, maybe part of it being actually just the gauge itself, or the fuel gauge not working, just being the gauge itself. But come to find out, it is this thing. because I started thinking, I was like, wait a second, you know what? I thought this is all I had. And I remembered I had an original one that was sitting out in a pile of parts out there out of a Blazer tank. So I did this one up, fixed the ground wire on it a little bit, hooked it up in place, and moved it around. Well, guess what? We've got full movement. It goes up to full. It'll make the gauge, when this is full, it actually goes, well, sadly enough, over full. I'd love to put this one in it, but it's not reading correctly. When this is on full, the gauge moves all the way past full, and when it's on empty, it falls off and starts doing all sorts of funny stuff. And so played around with it and tried to kind of clean up. I'm sure it's just kind of due to it being corroded and old and whatnot. And so really wanted to kind of put this one in it, but it wasn't reading accurately itself either. But this proved that the gauge isn't the problem. It isn't why it's not reading above full. It was that sending unit that was in it. And my other thoughts too, this whole entire time, were floats. So I stuck the float that was in it, which is this right here with the dent in it, just like the tank that has a dent in it that is inside, on gas overnight, and it flowed the whole night. And I tried drowning it, and it wouldn't. It's got nothing in it, so it floats. This dirtier one is the one to the original one, and it is really soft feeling. I'm not trusting it for long. It's really like one of the ends is like kind of like, yeah, it's real soft, but it's still floating too. Well, that was with the original one. And then this really clean one, of course, here is with our new sending unit. And I've been soaking this in gas for the last hour or so, and it hasn't been sinking either. I'm trying to drown it and nothing in it. So we've got two decent shaped floats. That one's just too, I don't know, soft. I think it's just getting a little rotten, that are floating. So yeah, new sending unit. I started thinking even more, wait a second, I know for a fact out in storage in a box of parts for Chelsea's Blazer, I had a new sending unit. And so I ran out there and I found this thing. So, and it's a little bit different than the other ones. It's not the same brand aftermarket. I don't know if that means it's better or worse, but it is functioning. Hooked it up and did the same test. Just plugged in, and me back here moving the armature, whatever we're gonna call it, around, and it's getting a full read. I should say it's getting nearly a full read. It's getting at empty, it's like right around 1/8 of a tank, and at full on the arm, it's like 7/8 of a tank. So it's kind of there. And so I thought to myself, well, gosh, I can bend and adjust this, but really it wouldn't help, because if I bent this up, it would touch this even sooner, the stop, and maybe get a little better read, but it would hit the stop lower there too. I started looking at these. Here's what I'm going to do. Now, because I put all this effort in, why not do a little more? Look at the stops. Look how big and thick they are versus the stops on this one. They're quite a bit smaller, and the original one has got like much more material. So I'm going to grind away those stops a little bit. I'm going to grind like, I don't know, like a 1/16, an 1/8 of an inch off these. So this has a little more movement in both ways. That way it'll essentially be able to travel flutter, because again, when it was on this stop here, which would essentially be empty, it was reading 1/8 of a tank. And it was on this stop here, which would be full, it was reading about 7/8 to, between 7/8 and a full tank. So if I grind those away a little bit, and then what I'm gonna do is just bend that down just a little bit, so it's reaching flutter to be empty and not touching the ceiling of the tank, hopefully. So grind these down a little bit and bend that. And then I gotta decide which one of these floats I'm sticking on it and trusting. Just a pain in the butt to pull these tanks. I'm just trying to do this one time and hopefully have a working gas gauge. And on top of all of this is a side note and little diversion I've gone here. Hopefully we've got a prime issue we fixed, and I believe it really is. Again, I didn't find anything else here. I really think it still is just this hose that was off the sending unit that was cracked up. It makes sense that it was sucking air from there. It's all rotted and whatnot. And I did, while Mike was also over here, my neighbor, we unhooked it both sides and we blew air through it, and the fuel line itself is not plugged up. So by all means, the guy should be able to get a sending unit in this thing and have fuel prime again, and hopefully, with all these efforts, have a working gas gauge. So all right, let's get this tank back in the truck. All right, it's ready. Let's get it stuffed up in there. So been buffing away on this thing, did all that little, side objective mechanical work that kind of turned into a can of worms. Got that out of the way, got that done. Thing is running good. All is well now. So you can kind of see here, well, there's your before and there's the after. I kind of just went at it and been picking away at it the last couple days really. And back of the truck has been painted, kind of blended in and as rusty as can be, but it's still shined up too. So basically, I just left that hood because I want to show you guys kind of the before and after there. I took that step off this side and been fixing a few little things cosmetically. But the last bit basically is that hood and the roof. I've got the other side. I kind of got this, what I could reach, basically buffed. But the guy's got to get up there and get the mass of it. So I've got an idea because it's hard to access. I'm going to finish this little chunk of the hood here and we're going to get it outside and attempt our plan. All right, so here's the plan. We're going to use the flatbed as a, come on, look out. Get it all nice and close. Get them almost touching. So here's the plan. The flatbed is going to be our workstation. All right, we're making progress. Putting a dent in it anyways. Chelsea is going like mad around all the lights here and it's got looking pretty good just with compound and by hand. And I was trying to use the buffer in the big area here, you know, for the brunt of it, but it is so hot out today. It's like, I don't know, 100 degrees, sun is just beating down. And after about 5 minutes, this panel warmed up, it's just cooking compound. So what I've been doing is I just got a bucket full of cold water and I'm just using SOS pads and just kind of scrubbing it. Too hot to buff up here. It's cooking the compound, but not too worried about it anyway. So we're gonna get around the edges shiny and the middle cleaned up and the surface rust off. You can see kind of like that right there. That's how it looked. And SOS is taking it right off. So yeah, and I gotta just get up here again and wash all this SOS soaps come off there, but that's fine. All good. Whew, we're getting cooked. We need to go to town and get some waters and ice and drinks and whatnot because it's a roasty toasty one today. Chelsea's flipping around so we can get the other side. I'm telling you guys, it is roasty up here. You need to get a thermometer. It's gotta be over 100 degrees. Whew. Looks so much better. There it is. That's our after. I gotta apologize, guys. I know it started out a video as, oh, we're buffing a Suburban. Well, turned kind of into, we're fixing a broken Suburban, and all of a sudden the Suburban is buffed, but that's just how it goes. I try to film as much as I can and make these videos interesting, and sometimes I'm kind of limited on what I can film and what I can talk about just with what's in front of me and what time I've got, and excuses, right? Well, here it is, the old rusty big burb, looking shiny yellow and shiny rust. The roof came out really nice. You know, those cab lights are such a focal point on this truck, and this little specks of, you know, surface rust was just all over that roof. It's really solid. It's just, you know, just have tiny little specks of surface rust. And so, yeah, it really cleaned up and looks a lot more presentable and respectable. And as you guys can see, paired with our 67 Shasta, it's a good look. It's, yeah, it's kind of fitting. The Shasta is in quite a bit better shape than the Suburban though. So, maybe it'd be a little more fitting if they were a little more, on par with each other, put it that way. Maybe the Shasta just look better behind this Suburban, the 2-wheel drive, but hey, it's all good. I gotta get a hitch on that one still, and I kind of really want to fix the one on this because it's just kind of some boogered on flat steel, and I'm sure it's worked for many years and whatnot, but there's 2 hitches between the 2 of them that I think would both work, and I'd like to basically both get them a nice solid hitch. And so I'm towing this thing, which is gonna be the main thing we're gonna be towing with these 2. The guy's not thinking about what's going on back there, just no worries. And solid towing device, it's always nice. After we got done with the roof there, scrubbing on it and kind of buffing the edges and making it look pretty, we took her on back and just washed it like continuously, like 3 times. I pressure washed it, and it I still got moss and little chunks of dirt coming out from behind emblems and this and that, and so it's only getting cleaner and better and just more respectable inside and out. The back there, that rusty hatch was still kind of covered in film and just junk, and so got that cleaned up. No, she's coming around as far as clean and just general cleanliness. Condition is of course to follow always. Yeah, after the big old pressure wash and scrub down, took it to town. Oh, I almost forgot. As much of a victory this buff job was, and got her looking better, the biggest victory of all, fixed it because it's broken, working gas gauge. I thought it worked when I got the stuff back together there and got it running again, but I only had 5 gallons that I had lying around to put in it, so it's kind of got up there, you know, hovering above empty. Went and put, I think, 30 bucks in, and boom, look at that, working gas gauge. So that might have been well, I think it really was the biggest victory of all. So very stoked about that, especially as we plan to start really using this thing here and going on camping trips. It's nice not to be like, how much gas is in it? I can't remember. No, it'll tell you. I love that factory color. It just is, it's sharp. I've always liked it, and again, it's one of the main reasons we bought this truck. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Step back here and get it all in full frame. And the Shasta and this thing, special truck, cooking in the works here. More on that later, possibly. 1972 Chevrolet Suburban K10 Burb, rusty as can be, but now pretty shiny, looking good. So, all right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, more 67 to 72 content soon. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.